Question 1, start with the smallest number, write these in order. Okay, so minus 8 is the smallest number, it's the biggest minus, then minus 5, then 0, then 1, then 3. Okay, if you're not sure about these, just picture a number line. We've got sort of 0 in the middle. So minus 8 would be all the way over here, minus 5 would be here, then the 0, then the 1, and the 3 would be over here. Right, part B, write these numbers in order of size. Now be careful here, you don't just do it on the number of numbers after the decimal. Take each, look at each number after the decimal in turn. So looking at the 10th column, the first number after the decimal point, you can see that this is a 2.0. Nothing else is that low. So 2.082 is the smallest. Now, what's the next smallest number in the 10th column? It's that 2. So our next smallest number is 2.28. Then we've got a 5 and 8 or an 8, so it's obviously the 5. Now, we've got both of these are 2.8s, so you need to look at the next digit. Well, the next digit, the one in the 100th column, is a 0 here, but a 5 here. So this one is smaller, so 2.805. And then the biggest number is 2.85. Now for part C, just pop these into your calculator. So the square root of 196 equals 14. Now the cube root, you want to use the cube root button, which is normally the second function on the square root button. So shift square root, and you get that little 3 and then the square root sign. Pop 6859 inside that, and we get 19. So what we've actually worked out is the cube root of 6859, and that's 19. Question 2. So we're told that Cairo has a population of 12 million. Draw a bar to show this. So Cairo has got to go up to 12 million. There's 12 million. So just drawing a bar here up to that 12. Using a ruler would be good. Right, the population of 2 cities are equal. Which 2 cities are these? So look for the 2 bars that have got the same height. Well, it's that one and that one. They've got the same height. So the 2 cities are Bogota and Lima. Right, part C, write down the name of the city with a population of 15 million. Well, 15 is halfway between 14 and 16. It's up here. So that's this one here, which is Manila. Now, for part D, we're being asked to work out the difference in population between Jakarta. Now, Jakarta has got 14 million. And Phoenix, which has got halfway between the 2 and the 4, so that's 3. How do you work out the difference? You just take away 1 from the other. 14 take away 3 is 11. Now for part D, we're told the ratio of badminton clubs to football clubs. So badminton to football is 90 to 60. We're being asked to write this ratio in its simplest form. So you need to break it down as far as you can. It's like simplifying a fraction. So if we divide by 10, we're going to get 9 to 6, but we can then still divide by 3 to get 3 to 2. So that's our final answer, 3 to 2. Question 3, write down the mathematical name for the line from A to C. Well, A to C, so the length going from one side of the circle through the centre to the other side of the circle is called the diameter. Part B, write down the mathematical name for the line A to B. Now, a line from any part of the circle to another part of the circle, not through the centre, is called a chord. And shade a sector. Well, a sector is a chunk of the section which goes up to the centre. So that would be an example of a sector of the circle. Question 4. Part A. One of these 5 road signs has one line of symmetry. Write down which one it is. So which one would there only be one reflection line where you would reflect it, it would reflect onto itself, and that's going to be shape number A. You could put a line vertically down the middle, and shape A, as you reflected that, would look the same on both sides. Now for part B, one of these 5 road signs has an order of rotational symmetry greater than 1. Which one is it? Now, rotational symmetry is different to normal symmetry. Imagine you have a shape and as you turn it around 360 degrees, how many times during that turn would it look identical? Now, the answer is shape D, and the number of times it would look the same. The order of rotation is 3. And I'll show you why. So I've taken it over here on the left, and we've just got the dot on top as our starting point as we rotate it. So as we rotate it, it looks normal now. So that's 1. Now as we rotate it round, okay, obviously that looks the normal shape. So that's 2. Carry on rotating it round, 3. There's the 3rd time it looks identical before it gets back to where it started. So that's why it's order of rotation 3. Now part C, road sign E, which has got 8 sides. What is this called? We've just got to learn this. An 8-sided shape is called an octagon. Right, 5 would be heptagon, 6 would be hexagon. They're the main 3. Question 5. Which one of these fractions is equivalent to 4/5? So which one, if you multiply top and bottom by the same number, would you end up with the same? So if we take the 4th one along, so 4/5, if we times top and bottom by 4, we get 4 4s are 16 over 5 4s are 20. So 16 over 20 is the one which is equivalent to 4/5. Now part B, here is a shape made of squares, shade 4/5 of it. So 4/5, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 15 squares. We've got to shade 4/5 of 15. Okay, so now you could just get your calculator out and do what is 4/5 of 15. Do 4 over 5 times 15, you're going to get 12. Or you might just be able to see it, that it's 4 rows out of 5. So there's columns, 4 columns out of 5. But as long as you've gone and shaded 12 squares, it doesn't matter which 12 squares. Now write 4/5 as a percentage. So again, you can either just do this in your head and say 4/5 is what over 100. We're multiplying top and bottom by 20. So that's 20 times 4, which is 80. So 80 out of 100 is 80%. Well, if you're not comfortable with that, just use your calculator. Just do 4/5 times it by 100 to turn it into percentage, and you will get 80. Now, be careful with part D. It's not asking you to work out what 4/5 of 48 is. All right? This is saying after you've done the 4/5, you end up with 48. So the original number is going to be bigger than 48. So rather than taking 48 and multiplying it by 4 over 5, which you would do to make it smaller, we're going to multiply it the other way around. We're going to multiply it by 5 over 4. So 48 multiplied by, open up your fractions button. So 48 multiplied, open up your fractions button, 5 on top, 4 on the bottom, we get 60. Okay, so question number 6. So for part A, in the space below, draw pattern number 4. Now what we can see each time, we're just adding a couple of rectangles, a couple of squares on the end, aren't we? We've gone from a column of just one above the other, then 2 above the other, then three columns of one above the other. So it's just going to be 4 above the other. So we've got, well, I'm going to do, yeah, so we've got the pattern number 4 is going to be like that. better if you can do it with the gaps in it. Okay, but that's pattern number 4. Right, okay. For part B, how many sticks are needed to make pattern number 7? Now, I think it's easier to go back and convert the patterns into the number of sticks. So going back to the very first one, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 sticks. Then I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. And I'm just going to focus on those numbers. So I go from 7 to 12 to 17 and so on. Now what is my pattern here? I'm going up in 5s. Okay, so this is pattern number 1, then pattern number 2, pattern number 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and I'm going up 5s each time. So pattern number 4 is going to have 22, pattern number 5, 27, pattern number 6, 32, pattern number 7, 37. So my answer is 37. Part C, work out the pattern number of the pattern that makes exactly 62 sticks. Now we could do the nth term rule here, okay, and just go back to working that out and setting it equal to 62. But given it isn't that many numbers, I think I would just be tempted to carry on with this pattern here, okay. So pattern number 8 is going to have 42, pattern number 9, 47, 10, 52, 1157, 1262. So I think given we don't have to go too far, it's just easier just to say, just to carry on with the pattern. So which pattern number would we going to be? It's going to be pattern number 12. All right, pattern number 12, 62 sticks. Pedro says there would be a pattern in this sequence with exactly 1, 2, 3. Is he correct? Well, we know he isn't, because the patterns are either ending with a 2 or a 7. So, so is Pedro correct? Pedro is not correct. The sequence, or no, perhaps each number in the sequence either ends in a 2 or a 7. So 1, 2, 3 is not in the sequence. Question 7. So we've got to complete the table, and we get our answers when they are multiplied by each other. We're multiplying what you get when you roll the dice with when you spin the spinner. So we're going to have 1 times 5 is 5, 1 times 6 is 6, 1 times 2 is 2, 3 2s is 6, 2 5s are 10, it's already been done, 2 6s are 12, we're missing 3 3s are 9, 3 5s are 15. Right, Stephen plays the game once. Work out the probability the score is greater than 10. So how many times is it greater than 10? So not equal to 10, greater than 10. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's 4 ways that it can be greater than 10. So the probability, always give the probabilities as fractions if you can. It's 4 out of a total of how many? Well, we've got 6, 12, 18 possibilities. 4 out of 18. You could simplify that, but there's no need. Now, Adam plays the game and Carmen plays the game. Adam gets a prize if his score is 5 or less. Carmen, if her score is a multiple of 6. So let's start off with Adam. So Adam gets a prize when it is 5 or less. So 5 or less. So let's circle all the times that's 5 or less. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of 18 ways. Now Carmen gets a prize when it's a multiple of 6, so it's in the 6 times table. So 6 or 12 or 18. So all the 6s, 12s, or 18s. Just check I've picked up all of those. 6. Oh no, there's a 6 I've missed. 6, 12s, or 18. And so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, 6 of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 out of 18. Right, Carmen's where it's a multiple of 6. Right, Carmen says the game is unfair because Adam is more likely to get a prize. Is the game unfair? Well, it is unfair, isn't it? Carmen's only got a chance of 6 out of 18. Adam's got a better chance of 8 out of 18. So is the game unfair? Yes, it is. Adam's more likely to win. So is the game unfair? So yes, the game is unfair. The probability of Adam winning is 8 out of 18. Again, as I said earlier on, just leave it as a fraction, while the probability Carmen wins is just 6 out of 18. Question 8a. So Nina buys 8 pencils, 13 identical rulers. Each pencil's cost that, and we've got a total. Right. So how much does she spend on pencils? She spends 8 times $0.58. So 8 times 0.58. 8 times 0.58 is 4.64. Right, okay. The total cost is £23.62. So if the total cost is £23.62 and she spent £4.64 on pencils, she spent the rest on rulers. So do 23.62 and take away your 464. The amount spent on rulers is, or available to be spent on rulers, is 1898. Now she's bought 13 identical rulers, so spread your 1898 across these 13 identical rulers, and we get 146 as an answer. Now for part B, Bjorn has £15 to spend on pens. That's 0.62 each. Right, so $15 divided by 0.62 means if you were able to cut up the pens, you could buy exactly 24.193, 24.193 and so on pens. Now clearly you can't buy part of a pen. So we can afford 24, we can't afford 25. So how much are 24 pens going to cost us? That's going to be 24 lots of 62 cents. So 24 times 0.60 is 1488. So 1488 is spent on buying 24 pens. Bjorn had $15 to start with, so how much change should he get? 15 take away 1488. I think that's 0.12, isn't it? But let's just double check. Yes, 0.12. Question 9. So, Ewan has 2 more sweets than Simon, so that's x plus 2. Julia has three times as many sweets as Ewan, so that's 3 lots of x plus 2. So make sure you pop that in a bracket, because there's 3 lots of the whole of x plus 2, not just the 3 lots of x. So let's take this opportunity just to multiply that out with the claw. So 3 times x is 3x, 3 times plus 2 is 6. So Simon is x, Ewan is x plus 2, Julia is 3x plus 6. Now they have a total of T sweets. So the total is Simon's sweets, which is x, plus Ewan's, which is x plus 2, plus Julia's, which is 3x plus 6. So simplifying that, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5x plus 2 plus 6, which is 8. So T equals 5x plus 8 is the formula in its simplest form. Now for part B, make G the subject. So we need to move everything away to leave G on its own. So start off by leaving the 4 alone, which is most attached to the G. Start by undoing the plus 7. So we're going to take away 7 from both sides. So R minus 7 equals 4G. How do we undo a timesing by 4? We divide by 4. Now to make it clear that everything's being divided by 4, it's R minus 7 all over 4 equaling G. And then writing it around the other way around, so G equals R minus 7 all over 4. Now for part C, solve that equation. So to get all the y's on one side, I'm going to take all the y's to the left-hand side, which has got the bigger number of y's to start with. So I need to move the plus 2y, so I'm going to take away 2y from both sides. So 6y take away 2y is 4y. So 4y minus 3 equals, and we're just left with the 8 on the right once we've undone the 2y. So we've got all the y's on the left. Now let's get all the normal numbers onto the right. How do we undo a minus 3? We add 3 to both sides. So 4y equals 11. And how do we undo a timesing by 4? We divide by 4. So y is going to be 11 to be divided by 4. Now that will be fine for full marks. If you wanted to, you could make it a mixed number, which is going to be what, 2 3/4. Or if you like, you could make it 2.75. But neither of those are necessary. The improper answer, 11 over 4, will be absolutely fine for full marks. Question 10. Now, I'm sorry, this isn't going to be great. I don't have a compass function at home where I'm doing this video, so you're just going to have to bear with me. So for 10A, use ruler and compasses to construct a triangle ABC, where the length from A to C and B to C is both 7. So C is going to be up here somewhere, and we need the length from that point to both A and B to be exactly 7 long. So this is what you would do. You would go and get your compass, and you would, with a ruler, you would make it exactly 7 centimeters apart between the pencil nib and the pencil point and the pin. So go and put the point on the A, and do an arc at 7 centimeters along. Let's imagine it was something like that. So everywhere from A to anywhere on that line is 7. And repeat, go and do the same from B. So everywhere from B is also 7. Now, where those two lines meet there, by definition, is both 7 centimeters from A and from B. So you would then get your ruler out. Now I do have a ruler function, and from that point where those two arcs meet, you go from A to C and A to B. All right, and that would be your final answer. A to B to C, and let's just double check. A to B is 6, yes, that was given. A to C is 7, yes, and B to C is 7. Now for part B, we've got to do a perpendicular bisector of the line DE. Now perpendicular means it's at 90 degrees to DE, so it's just going straight down vertically somewhere. And the fact it's bisecting D and E means it's halfway along. So we basically need a line halfway along going straight down. But we've got to use ruler and compasses, which is a very accurate way of doing it. So what you go and do, with your compass, put the pin on D and get a length that's most of the way along, say to about here, and you would do a big arc. Do a big arc. So I'm going to go and do that big arc, imagining that's my compass. Now you would then go and, without changing the length on the compass, do the reverse. Now go and put the pin over on E and do a similar arc. Now what you will find, and it's obviously not a work of mine, because mine's been done badly by hand, if you now go and join a line between where it crosses up here and where it crosses down here, that line going straight down would be halfway along between D and E, and clearly you can see mine doesn't look like it is, and it would be at 90 degrees to D and E. So again, apologies, this isn't very accurate, but as long as you understand the method, you will get an accurate answer. Question 11. So the flights cost 1190 and they're splitting them 2 to 5. How much more money does Jenny pay than Calvin? Okay, and there is a quicker way of doing this, but I think I'll go to the most logical way of doing it. So Calvin pays for 2 shares, Jenny pays for 5 shares. That's 7 shares in total. 2 and 5 is 7. So let's go and split the 1190 across the 7 shares. So 1190 divided by 7. So 1190 divided by 7 equals 170 pounds. So that's what each share is. So Calvin pays for 2 shares. So that's 2 lots of 170. Jenny's paying for 5 shares. So that's 5 lots of 170. So Calvin pays 2 lots of 170, which is 340. Jenny pays for 5 lots of 170. 170 times 5, which is 850. Now the question is, how much more does Jenny pay than Calvin? So you need to do 850 to take away 340, which is 510. Now a quicker way, if you want to see it, is to see that Jenny pays for 3 more shares. 5 compared to 2 is 3 more shares. Each share is 170. You could have done 170 times 3, and that would have taken you straight to the 510. Now, for part B, the cost of the villa is 3,500. They had to pay a deposit of 12%. So the deposit is 12% of 3,500. Now, 12% is just 12 over 100, which is 0.12. So basically do 0.12 multiplied by 3,500 to give you the deposit was 420. So the total cost was 3,500, and now if we take away the deposit that was paid in advance, that leaves us with 3,080, doesn't it? But let's just double check. 3,500 take away 420 is 3,080. Yes. Now this amount was spread over monthly installments of 220 each. So how many months would it have been? Well, 3,080 divided by 220. And that is 14 months. Question 12. So we've got to draw this line on the graph. Now we know it's a line because the equation of the graph has only got y's and x's in it. There's no squares. Now we need to go all the way from x being minus 2, all the way up to x being 3. So we're going to have some point on the x being minus 2 where the line starts, and then some point on the x being 3 where the line finishes. So for each of these, let's just work out the y value. So we know that y equals 3x take away 1. So to work out the y coordinate, you take the x coordinate and you times it by 3 and you take away 1. So minus 2 times 3 is minus 6. Minus 6 take away 1 is minus 7. And for the second coordinate, when x is 3, 3 3s are 9, 9 take away 1 is 8. So we can just plot these two coordinates, which are the 2 points at the ends of the line. So plot the coordinate -2, -7. So that's 2 to the left, 7 down. Then the coordinate 3 8. So that's 3 to the right and 8 up. And then just simply get a ruler and join these 2 points together. Question 13. Now, to answer this, you really need to understand how this table's working. What we're saying is there are 8 sunflowers where the height is between 90 and 100. There are 12 sunflowers where the height is between 100 and 110. Now, the reason the question is asking us to work out an estimate for the mean is that we don't know how high any of those sunflowers are. Those 8 sunflowers are somewhere between 90 and 100. We just don't know where, okay? They could all be 91, they could all be 99. We just don't know. So the best we can do is an estimate. We go straight down the middle. So what's half of 90 and 100? That's 95. What's halfway between 100 and 110? That's 105, 115, 125, and 135. So those are the midway points. If you can't just see what the halfway points are, you can just work out the average. So for the top one, you could do 90 add 100, which is 190, divide it by 2 to give you the 95. Now, from now onwards, we're just going to pretend those are the heights that the sunflowers are exactly. So we're going to pretend we've got 8 sunflowers that are 95 centimetres, 12 that are 105, and so on. So the next thing we do is to cross multiply to work out a total height. So we're going to do 95 times 8. 95 times 8, which is 760. 105 times 12, which is 1260. 115 times 15, which is 1725. 125 times 10, which is 1250. And 135 times 3, which is 405. So there's a whole bunch of heights there. Now, if we add up all of those heights, we get a total height for the 48 sunflowers. So 760, add 1260, add 1725, add 1250, add 405. And that equals 5,400. So 5,400 height divided by the number of sunflowers. To be careful, don't just do the number of rows, it's the number of sunflowers, which is 48. So 5400 divided by 48 gives us 112.5. Question 14. Explain why A intersection B is 0. So explain why there is nothing that is in both A and B. Well, we can see that A is 2, 3, 5, 7, B is 4, 6, 8, 10. There's nothing that's in both. So the reason why that is there are no members in both sets A and B. Now, for part B, we're told that X is part of the universal set. So X is somewhere in all of those numbers at the top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. But X is not in A union B. So X is not in A or B or both. So which numbers are in the universal set at the top, but are not in either A or B? And that's going to be 1 and 9. So 1 and 9 are the two numbers that aren't in either A or B. Now, for part C, I think we really need to have a Venn diagram to help us gather our thoughts here. So we've got A, B, and C. Now, we know from part A that there are no members that are in both A and B. So nothing is in the A-B overlap. So I'm going to cross that bit out. Okay. Now, we're told here, let's work our way through what we were told. We're told that A union B union C is the universal set. So everything from 1 to 10 is somewhere within A, B, and C. Nothing is on the outside. Now, we're told A intersection C. What's in both A and C? That's 2. So let's put the 2 in there. Now, we're told what's in both A and not in C is 4, 6, and 10. So, sorry, what's in B but not in C? What's in B but not in C? So 4, 6, and 10 go here. Okay, they are both in B and also not in C. Now let's just go and fill in the other bits and pieces then. So going back to the starting point, A is 2, 3, 5, and 7. Well, there's the 2, so the 3, 5, and 7 must go there. Now B has got 4, 6, 8, and 10. 4, 6, 8, and 10. So that 8 must go there. 4, 6, 8, and 10. Now, all the numbers from 1 to 10 are somewhere here. So 1 and 9 must be in that part here. So to answer the question, list all the members that are in C. So the C rugby ball, that's the 1, 2, 8, and the 9. Question 15. So we've got a cylinder. Okay, we're told that the diameter is 14. That's the length all the way across the circle through the centre. And the height of the cylinder is 20. And we've been asked to work out the volume. Now, how to work out the area of a cylinder, which is a prism? Step 1, you work out the area of the cross section, the end bit. Now, this is a circle. So step 1, we're going to work out the area of the circle. The area of a circle is pi r squared. Pi times the radius squared. So that's pi times the radius, which is 7. Okay, the radius is from the centre of the circle to the outside, and that is squared. And once we've worked out the area of this circle, we multiply that by the depth of the prism, which is 20. So our answer is going to be pi, so that's just on the calculator, times 7 squared times 20, which is 980 pi. Press the SD button, we get 3078, 3078.76. Now the question is asking for 3 significant figures, so that's going to be 3080. Okay, 3080. In this scenario, that 0 here between the 3 and the 8 is counting as one of the significant figures. Okay, question 16. So we need to work out the percentage profit. So first of all, we're going to have to work out the actual profit itself. Now, how to work out a profit is it's the difference between the amount you sell everything for, take away the amount it all cost you. So how much do we sell everything for? So what do we sell everything for? So sales. So we sold half of the books for £5 each. So that's half of 120. So that's 60 books are going to be £5 each. So that's going to be £300. Now 40% of the books, now 40% of 120, do 0.4 times 120. 0.4 times 120 is 48. So 48 books we sold for £7 each. 48 times 7 is 336. And then the rest of the books, well, there's 12 books left over now to get us up to the 120. We sold for £8 each. So 12 8s are 96. So the total amount of money we took was 336, add 300, add 96, which is 732. Now our cost, the cost of the books, all 120 books were £4 each, so 120 times 4, which is 480. So our overall profit, the sales value take away the cost, is 732 minus the 480, which is 252. Now, to work out the percentage profit, you take the actual profit itself, the 252, you divide that by the cost of the books, which is 480, and times that by 100 to turn it into a percentage. So 252 divided by 480 equals multiplied by 100 equals 52.5%. So 52.5%. Part B. So one of the books has increased in value by 20%. So it's gone by 100%. We've added on 20% to give us a final value of 120%. Now, how do we get from 100% to 120%? Our multiplier is 1.2. Okay, to get to 100% up to 120, you multiply by 1.2. So if we knew the original price and we were trying to work out the final price, we would multiply by 1.2. But with this question, it's the other way around. We're being told that after the increase, it was £15. How much was it worth on the 1st of May 2018? So we're going right to left. So rather than multiply by 1.2, we're going to take our £15 and we're going to divide that by 1.2. 15 divided by 1.2 is £12.50. Okay, so it was worth £12.50 on the 1st of May. Increase that by 20%, you get the £15. Question 17. So we've got two similar triangles here. So the bigger one on the right is proportionally bigger than the one on the left. Each side is the same amount bigger. So take the side that you've got in common. Well, we can see this left-hand side is 6 over here and 15 over here. How do we get from 6 to 15? What do we multiply it by? So look at it in reverse. Do 15 divided by 6 to give you the multiplier, which is 2.5. Okay, 6 times 2.5 gives us 15. So every length for the bigger triangle is 2.5 times the size of the length of the smaller triangle. So for part A, work out the length of DF, so that's this length here. Well, that's going to be 2.5 times the 4.2. So 4.2 times 2.5. 4.2 times 2.5 is 10.5. And then for part B, work out the length of BC. So that's working out this length here. Well, that's going to be 2.5 times smaller than the comparable side, the 19.5. So take your 19.5, and because we're trying to get it smaller, divide that by 2.5. So that length is 7.8. So we're told that the mean mark for the whole class, the 30 students, the boys and the girls, was 26.8. So how many marks did they get in total? So you take your 30 students, you multiply this by 26.8, which was the mean average, to give you the total marks for the whole 30 students, which is 804. Now, we're more used to seeing that the other way around, weren't we? If we were told that the 30 students had total marks of 804, work out the mean, we would do 804 divided by 30. This is just looking at it the other way around. Now, we're told that 13 of the students were boys. So looking at the boys only, okay, how many marks did they get in total? Well, those 13 boys had an average mean mark of 25. So 13 times 25 is 325. So the boys scored 325 marks in total. So in total, boys and girls 804, boys alone 325. So girls is going to be the difference. So the total marks obtained by the girls is going to be 804 take away 325, which is 479. Now, those 479 marks are spread across however many girls there are. Now, there are 13 boys, 30 boys and girls, so the number of girls must be 30 take away 13, which is 17. So the mean mark for the girls is going to be 479 divided by 17, which is 28.176, ... So reading the question to 3 significant figures, which means 3 numbers in total, that is 28.2. Question 19. So a speed is x kilometers per hour. Now there are 1,000 meters in a kilometer. So if we're going x kilometers per hour, we will be going 1,000 x meters per hour. That's how many meters we would go in an hour. But we want to know how many meters we would go in a second. So if we go and divide it by 60, that shows us how many meters we would go in a minute. And then if we divide by 60 again, then that would show us how many meters we would go in a second. Okay, so we've got 1,000 over 60 times 60. So if you do 1,000 over 60 times 60 on your calculator, that simplifies to 5 over 18 times x. Question 20. Now, in order to eliminate either x or y, we need to line up either the x's or the y's. So let's call this equation 1 and this equation 2. Now, if I was to double equation 1, I would double up, sorry, that would be no good. If I was to triple equation 1, if I was to times everything by 3, I would then have 3x as part of that equation. That would line up the second one. Equally, I could double the second equation. Okay, I could double the second equation because that would line up the y's, because I'd then have 2 y's in the bottom one. Now, I think I'm going to do that one. So I'm going to take equation number 2, and I'm going to double everything in the equation. So I'm going to double the 3x, I'm going to double the minus y, I'm going to double the 16. So I get 6x minus 2y equals 32. And I'm going to come and bring an equation 1 underneath that. That was my equation 1. Now, I've lined up the y's. I've got 2y in both. However, because on one of them I've got minus 2y, and in the other one I've got plus 2y, in order to eliminate them, to make the y's disappear, I need to choose to add these two equations together. So 6x add x is 7x. Minus 2y added together with 2y is nothing. That's the whole point, it eliminates. And 32 added together with a minus a half is 31.5. So then divide by 7. So x is 31.5 divided by 7. 31.5 divided by 7, which is, switch my calculator on. 31.5 divided by 7 is 9 over 2, so that's 4.5. So x is 4.5. Okay, now you can take either of the two equations. I think I will take equation number 2. So I'm just copying out equation number 2 again. And I'm replacing the fact that I now know that x is 4.5. So I put that into the answer. 3 lots of 4.5, taking away y is 16. So 3 lots of 4.5 is 13.5. So 13.5, take away whatever y is 16. So y is going to be, if I add y to both sides and then take away the 16, y is 13.5, take away 16, which is minus 2.5. Question 21. We're being asked to work out the bearing of B from C. So the first thing to do is to identify the angle we need. We need this angle here. That is the bearing of B from C. And a bearing is always measured from north, and it is always measured clockwise. So how to work this out, I'm going to start off by working out this acute angle here, which I'm going to call X. So using the triangle ABC, I've got my opposite and my adjacent are the two sides I know. So I can say that tan X equals the opposite side of 2, 3, 4 divided by the adjacent of 3, 5, 6. So x equals inverse tan 2, 3, 4 over 3, 5, 6. So popping that into my calculator, so shift tan 2, 3, 4 divided by 3, 5, 6 equals 33.32 degrees. So that's what x is. Now, okay, so that's what x is. So let's go and work out. So yeah, I think I can pretty much do it straight from that, can't I? Because that is 90 degrees. Okay, so this angle all the way around to here is going to be 270 degrees. So the bearing that I want, which is the bit in blue, is going to be my green plus my x. So it's going to be 270 plus the 33.32, which is 303.32. I think, yep, so to the nearest degree, that's going to be 303 degrees. Question 22. So we've got a line which is a gradient of 5 and passes through the point 0, -3. Okay, so let's just do a quick sketch to help us gather our thoughts. It goes through the point 0, -3, and it's got a gradient of 5. So y equals mx plus c is our starting point, where m is the gradient, so that is 5. C is where the line crosses the y-intercept, the y-axis, so it's the y-intercept, so that's at -3. You could have used the y minus y1 formula, but there's just no need, given the point they give you is the y-intercept. Now, what are the 4 inequalities that define this, this square? So this line here, be careful what this line is here. This is the so this line here is the line x equals, y equals 3. That line here is the line y equals 1. This line going up through the 2 is the line y equals 2, is x equals 2, excuse me, or the x coordinates will be 2. And this is either you could say the y-axis, or you could say this is x equaling 0. So those are really like my 4 boundaries. Okay, so my 4 answers, because I want the area inside this, I want all the points where x is less than or equal to 2, but greater than or equal to 0. Now the points where y is greater than or equal to 1, or less than or equal to 3. So our very final answer, those are the 4 inequalities, but just grouping all those into 2 simpler inequalities, we're saying that x is less than or equal to 2, but greater than or equal to 0, and y is less than or equal to 3, greater than equal to 1. So your final answers should be that bit in green rather than the working in red.